What's going on, guys? Mr. Loud over here. Just want to say before we get into the video, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel, whack that like button for the YouTube algorithm, and stay tuned for more great videos and content that I'll be pushing out. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the video. What's going on, guys? So it's a windy day today. I apologize if there's a lot of wind going into the sound of the camera, but I'm on the job today. I already did a couple videos already, pumping out a couple more as I can, but I'm working on a Kia Optima today, and I am doing what I call my presidential detail. That is basically a full detail. You're gonna get your wash, clay, one-step polish, a good 6-month protectant on top of it. You're gonna get interior steaming. You know, it's basically a full detail. And so part of that is assessing the clay step. Now, we all know clay bars to be those old putty things that get a little cumbersome to work with. If you drop it on the floor, you got to throw it out, and you have to keep on kneading it and keep on twisting it around to make sure you have a somewhat fresh surface to work with. But long time ago, in a galaxy far away, I got rid of those. I do not use the putties anymore unless I am working on something extremely heavy, where we're talking about 30 years of neglect, 30 years of oxidation, and there's just no getting around it. But 9.9 times out of 10, I am able to assess the clay step with nothing more than a synthetic clay. And I want to talk about one that I've been using that I happen to really like. Now, right here I have the Speedy Nano. It's the Speedy clay towel. You can find it. It's an SM Arnold product. You'll find it at your distributors. If you guys want, I can go ahead and try to get you a link to where I get mine from, but you should be able to find it even on Amazon. But the thing about it, the caveat, the downside to these is that they're gonna run you about $50 to $60, depending on who you go through. But there are some pluses to it. So when it comes to these synthetic clays, you have to be very careful. Obviously, they can melt together if you keep it in the heat, and after it's been warmed up, after it's, you keep it in heat, it can stick together. But do your due diligence and put in proper precautions so that doesn't happen. As long as you do that, you're gonna have some great usage out of a product such as this, or even others. Now, a good thing is that due to the size, I don't know, is this a 10 by 10? You can cut this into 4s, and you can actually have 4 different mitts. Now, me personally, I like doing that, but when I'm working on a mobile environment where time is of the essence, this works really quick, keeping it in this size. So let's get into this product. Right here you have the black area, which is a synthetic clay. That's what's actually going to remove industrial fallout, remove the iron particles, and it's actually going to perform the clay process. Now, as you see, the black part is connected to this bluish microfiber. Now, the cool thing about that people don't realize is that you can use that, you can flip it over, and with this microfiber, have your source of lubrication. You can wipe down to make sure there's some soap, detail, whatever you're using, to make sure that the area gets properly lubricated, because the one thing that synthetic clays are known to do is mar paint. Now, the cool thing about this one is that yes, it does mar, but nowhere close to how much something like the Griot synthetic clay pad will mar. That mars the mess out of paint. I did it on one car, never again. Yeah, I regretted that day for the rest of my detailing career to come, if that makes any sense. I had to polish the car out when the customer wasn't even asking for a polish. It was that bad. And so this right here minimizes a lot of the marring that happens. You'll get probably just very fine. I'm doing a 1-step polish anyway, so it's not an issue. And so I want to go ahead and show you how exactly I assess vehicles, how I clay using this, and the process that I take. So I hope you enjoy this information. If you have any questions, let me know what you think. Tell me what you think about what your thoughts are about synthetic clays. Are you a synthetic clay person, or do you like the clay putty? Go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Let me know. Also, whack that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so real quick, before I actually take you in for the clay process, I want to go ahead and show how to know if your car needs clay. So I'm going to take off the tripod right here, I'm going to kind of take you in to show you exactly what I'm working with here. So you may not see it so much on the camera, but in person, I'm looking, there's a ton of black specks on top of the silver paint, which physically, to the eye, in person, it's very noticeable. It may not be so much on camera, but for me, it's extremely noticeable. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my fingers and I'm kind of wiping across. I don't know if you can hear that. See, that sounds, you're probably thinking, oh, you're marring the paint. Well, I'm polishing afterwards. I'm not doing any damage that I'm not going to take out. But you hear that, right? that rough, coarse sound. It sounds like a mild sandpaper going across the paint. That's because you're dealing with industrial fallout. Now, simply how it works, paint in its very essence is porous, and so these pores on the paint, it's kind of like your teeth. They're pores. When they're there and you don't clean them, what happens is stuff gets gunked into your teeth. What's that called? It's called decay. Decay forms, and then you go ahead and do what I had to do the other day and get crowns and root canals, and you hate your life, and you feel like you woke up on Christmas morning and got dead puppies as a gift. Sorry, that was a little rant. I've never gotten dead puppies as a gift. So with that being the case, though, now I realize that because it's rough. I already washed the vehicle. It's rough. It's really tough to work. It's rough against my fingers. Even this. Now you can take a sandwich bag. You can do all that type of stuff. But really, you're gonna feel it with your fingers unless you have dead nerves. You won't. But even at that, though, sandwich bag won't really help unless you're going by the sound of it. So. Whatever. Now I'm going to show you how exactly I'd go and assess a situation like this. All right, here we go, guys. As you see, what I'm doing is I'm taking the foam cannon and I'm foaming down about a quarter of the car. Reason why is because I don't want to throw a bunch of foam all over the car and just have the foam just fall off before I get to it. Why is that? Because lubrication is your best friend when it comes to claying a vehicle. Whether you're using a putty clay, a clay towel, clay mitt, clay disc, whatever it is, clay block, clay in its very nature is a mild abrasive because it's trying to pull up or at least shave off the clay part, or not the clay particles, the industrial fallout that is in the pores of the paint. Now, as I am wiping the vehicle and I'm going over it pass by pass, I feel a grit under my towel, but the more that I touch it, the more that grit kind of slows down. It almost like it feels like it's still a dirty vehicle, but that grit, that dirty feeling is going away as I hit pass by pass by pass. And as you see, after I do a section of the vehicle, I go back to my mitt. That's because this clay towel is picking up industrial fallout, and I don't want to introduce that back into the car. I'd rather put that into the bucket where there's a grit guard and it can kind of fall down at whatever rate it falls down. Another thing to keep in mind that I will mention later in the video is that any part of the vehicle that faces up, so whether it's the hood, the roof, the trunk, or even this the part of the door, the top of the door where it faces up, those pillar areas, those are going to be the most contaminated. So keep that in mind. You're going to spend the most time on those areas. Hit the windows and all that, and guys, that's pretty simple, and that's really how it is. Alright, so here's the finished product after the clay step. Hopefully you can see this good, but there's no more loud sandpaper feeling. The black specks are all gone, the fallout's gone. The only specks you see on the paint are imperfections, such as maybe rock chips or something other than, than industrial fallout. There's no more specks in the paint. So this clay towel works very, very good, and I find it very effective. But yeah, I just want to kind of show you that to take you around a little bit more. There's over here in these areas, the parts that face up are what become much more contaminated than others. They tend to be the rough spots, but over here we have smoothness. It's very easy to navigate. It's smooth as far as bare. I'm not feeling any grip other than just the paint itself, nothing on top of that. So there you guys have it. That's kind of my process and how I assess claying a vehicle. Now, of course, you can go ahead and do a prep step, with using some type of fallout remover, iron, decon. Those are fine. Those, you can do those. But the only thing about that is they tend to be very pricey. And yeah, I've reviewed the Eagle One, triple foam black plastic dip cleaner, all that, and those work. But are they really helping my life out? Now, of course, I could spray that now that after I've clayed it to see if there's any more particles into the pores of the paint, because kind of how these clay towels work is it kind of flattens them out. It'll pull some of the decon out of the pores of the paint, but it also just kind of flattens too. So yeah, there's probably stuff still in the paint, but to the degree where it's going to be doing damage, I don't know. I've never had an issue yet. Anytime I clay a vehicle routinely, I've never had an issue with that. And so maybe it does, and maybe I need to take that precaution. And if I do, let me know in the comment section below. I'm not too ignorant to take others' advice. But this is how I assess vehicles, guys. So I'll try to get some links for the Speedy Prep microfiber clay towel. I always get it all mixed up in my head here, but I like the tool. I think it's a great resource, and I think it does bring a lot of value to the detailing environment, especially if you're kind of upset and kind of done with the old school clay putties. You know, of course, there's other methods. You have the clay disc that you can go ahead and put on a DA pad, or the clay pad you put on a DA, and you can do that, and you can use those, and they work fine. I used to use them a lot, but they also do kind of mar the paint a bit. You have to make sure you're on the lowest speed setting, and it gets to the point where it's just like, you know, why don't I just keep it in my hand? And then if I'm just gonna keep it in my hand and not use it on a buffer, then I might as well just use the clay towel and get 4 possible towels or surfaces out of that towel for the same price. So, you know, it all depends on what you like. There's pros and cons to everything, but I happen to like this method, guys. So I'll try to get links up for you of all the things that I'm using. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section below, guys. I love answering questions. I love responding to the feedback. Thank you so much for all your love and support, guys. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and press the subscription button, click the notification bell, whack that like button for the YouTube. I'm over here stuttering my words. Try 3. Wax that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Said it right. All right. And guys, thank you so much. Mr. Ladd here signing out. Love you all. Take care.